Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. Get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio to lose weight for the last time. Visit myphdweightloss.com. President Donald Trump is safe after Secret Service agents fired shots at a gunman who appeared set to assassinate the former president during an afternoon round of golf at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. We have the latest updates for you. The suspect in the apparent second assassination attempt has been identified. We have those details as well. The New York Post wrote the alleged gunman previously declared on social media that democracy is on the ballot this year, and we cannot lose, and we must fight to win. Does that sound familiar? Have you heard that maybe in a Democrat campaign speech? Also, the Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles has admitted to wrongfully registering at least 306 non-citizens to vote in November's election.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
In an afternoon news conference in West Palm Beach, Florida, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, FBI, and Secret Service officials gave the first update on what appears to be a second attempt on President Donald Trump's life. While playing golf yesterday afternoon, Secret Service agents who were screening the next couple of holes ahead of the president engaged with a person with what is being described as an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, a GoPro camera, and other supplies mounting on the perimeter fence of the Trump International Golf Club. Agents reportedly saw the barrel of the rifle pointed through the fence toward the area where the president would be playing momentarily. When they pursued the subject, he fled. Here's Sheriff Bradshaw for the details.
1:30 this afternoon, call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background.
As the sheriff said, authorities are treating the case as a potential assassination attempt and arrested a man sources identified as Ryan Wesley Ruth. Ruth was allegedly armed with a rifle when agents fired at him. The official added, this does not appear to be some random guy with an AK-47 walking outside of Trump's club. Fox News reporter Lucas Tomlinson confirmed that the Secret Service opened fire after they saw the suspect raising the weapon. The suspect fled in a black Nissan but was quickly apprehended, as the sheriff described. And this is a great example of some good police work, with the person standing by who is able to get the license plate and the information in this vehicle. The sheriff's department got it out very quickly, and they were able to apprehend the guy in the next county over. In the news conference, Sheriff Bradshaw estimated the gunman was about 300 to 500 yards away at the time, and admitted that it's hard to always see people who can potentially hide in the shrubs around the golf course.
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance. Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery, so when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right, and at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course surrounded. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
There'll be plenty of time for full investigation of how it was handled and what type of protection the president had, but you have to ask yourself the question, is he receiving the right protection? This whole idea that the sheriff is talking about, well, it's kind of hard to see people in the bushes. Does Donald Trump need more protection? Do they need to treat him as if he is the president? You notice that the sheriff said earlier that, well, he's not the president now, so he doesn't get the same level of protection. Maybe he needs the same level of protection. I know the sheriff says that the Secret Service did everything they were supposed to do, and that's good. I know that the Secret Service is under a microscope now because of the failed attempt just a few weeks, 2 months ago in Butler, Pennsylvania, that almost hit the president in the head. But should a gunman have gotten that close with a high-powered rifle again? Fox News Channel Sean Hannity, citing sources in local law enforcement, said that the suspect's rifle was discovered there in the bushes. We have since seen photos that have been released of the weapon that he left there by the fence. It's also being reported that 4 shots were fired. When the initial headlines came out, no one was sure as to whether or not the gunman had actually fired a shot. We later learned that he had not. Fox News host Brett Baer also spoke to President Donald Trump soon after the attempt. Trump told Baer, "Tell everybody I'm fine, and the Secret Service did a great job." And, as we hear of people who talk to Trump, that seemed to be his main goal, was to, once again, just like he did in Pennsylvania, when he raised his fist, that created that iconic photo that we have seen since then many times. He wanted people to know, I'm okay. Same thing yesterday. He wanted people to know, hey, I'm okay. Senator Lindsey Graham retweeted a post from the Trump War Room about the safety of the president and said, "Just spoke with President Trump. He's one of the strongest people I've ever known. He's in good spirits, and he's more resolved than ever to save our country." Graham later appeared on the Trey Gowdy show on Fox News and says he is pissed that something like this could happen again.
Well, thank you, Trey. Yeah, I'm just very grateful this was stopped. Appreciate the protective detail, but there's so many questions to be answered. How could this happen in the fashion it did? So my day started. I did Fox News Sunday, and right after the show, President Trump called, and he was about to go play golf with Steve Woodcock. And, I couldn't get there. I was supposed to play, but I couldn't get down. And he said, we talked a little bit about politics. And I said, well, just forget about all that. Go enjoy yourself. Have a good round of golf. So later on, not a couple hours later, whenever it was, he called me and he said, hey, I'm around surrounded by like 500 cops. They got a guy with an AK-47. He didn't know the real details, but shots were fired. He praised the Secret Service, but they had him taken off the course, and he said there's like 500 cops around. I said, are you okay? And he said, yeah. He said, I was 200 after 5. So he's quite a guy. That's all I can say, and I'm just very grateful that the worst didn't happen, and I'm pissed that this could happen again. And what you said about lowering the rhetoric and engaging differently is absolutely essential.
Wow, this is just amazing. What do you think? Should President Trump get accelerated Secret Service protection from this point forward between now and November the 5th? Are they doing everything they can to protect him? And did God save his life again for a reason? Your comments are welcome. Send me a quick text. Email me, Joey at joeyhudson.com. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, Joey at joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Soon after the arrest of the suspect, Fox News correspondent David Spunt reported on his identity.
Yeah, hey, Eric. Hey, Molly. We're told the suspect's name is Ryan Wesley Ruth, R-O-U-T-H. Not much more known about him at this time, except that he's the suspect currently in custody right now. Palm Beach Sheriff's Office says that he was taken into custody by the Martin County Sheriff's Office, just the county north of Palm Beach, was taken into custody after escaping the scene in his black SUV. According to the sheriff in Palm Beach, he did not make any sort of initial statement when he was taken into custody. They're expected to be releasing more details, a mugshot, whatnot later. But we're continuing to dig into who he is, who Ryan Ruth is, where he's from, his background. We're seeing a little bit online. We want to be careful and make sure we have all of the information correct before we present it to our loyal viewers. But we can tell you right now that his name is Ryan Wesley Ruth.
And what we know about Ryan Wesley Ruth, according to law enforcement officials, the man who was allegedly armed with an assault rifle outside of Trump International Golf Club, he's able to push the muzzle of the gun through the chain link fence, pointed at the direction that Donald Trump was coming down the fairway on this particular hole. Probably would have been there in a matter of 5-10 minutes or so. He is said to have been putting on the green prior to this hole. He's estimated to have been 300 to 500 yards away when Secret Service spotted him and then opened fire. He's able to get away, as reported, was later stopped by authorities after some great police work by a couple of sheriff's offices down there. He is found with 2 backpacks, a GoPro camera, the rifle he had left behind in the bushes at the golf course. Martin County Sheriff William Snyder said that the suspect was apprehended within minutes of the FBI, Secret Service, and Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office putting out an urgent BOLO, which means be on the lookout, of course, detailing the specific vehicle, the license plate number of the vehicle, and a description of the occupant, which was Ryan Wesley Ruth. Snyder said his deputies immediately flooded northbound I-95, deploying to every exit between the Palm Beach County line to the south and St. Lucie County line, where they were able to pull him over. And again, you got to praise local law enforcement for catching this guy quickly like that. He's 58 years old. A background check revealed that he currently lives in Hawaii and has faced dozens of run-ins with police stretching back to at least the 1990s. Now think about that for a minute, because if there's any argument as to whether or not he intended to harm the president, it appears he traveled from Hawaii to Florida specifically to assassinate Donald Trump. We're told that he is a native of North Carolina, where his list of arrests includes simple drug possession, driving without a license, expired inspection, and operating a vehicle with no insurance. In addition, the Greensboro News and Record reported in 2002 that Roof was arrested after barricading himself in his roofing company's office during a 3-hour standoff that followed a traffic stop in which he put his hand on a gun before fleeing. Roof moved to Hawaii in 2017, according to records. He has since launched another construction company in Hawaii that builds simple housing structures for homeless people. This according to a LinkedIn page that appears to belong to Roof. An official said after the Sunday afternoon incident, this does not appear to be some random guy with an AK-47 walking outside Trump's club. The New York Post writes, the alleged gunman previously declared on social media that, quote, democracy is on the ballot this year and we cannot lose, echoing the anti-Trump rhetoric used by Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden. Now, we need to pause and look at what this man has written, and the New York Post goes into great detail of some of his social media posts. And it's Kamala Harris and Joe Biden who are constantly talking about the rhetoric of Donald Trump and how Donald Trump is inciting violence. Well, when you read some of the things that this man has posted, it's like he is a speechwriter for Kamala Harris. He frequently posted about politics and exclusively donated to Democrat candidates in the past, dating back to 2019, based on the records that the New York Post has written about. He also bashed Trump in an April 22nd of this year post on X, in which he declared, democracy, written in all caps, is on the ballot and we cannot lose. He advised Biden in an April 22nd X post, when he was still running for re-election, to run a campaign around keeping America democratic and free. He claimed Trump wants to make Americans slaves against master. The guy very clearly does not like Donald Trump. This was a politically motivated crime. He went on to write, democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose. Again, a similar slogan commonly used by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He said, we cannot afford to fail. The world is counting on us to show the way. On August 29th, Kamala Harris said at a rally in Savannah, Georgia, we are fighting for our democracy. Tom Fitton, president of the conservative legal group Judicial Watch, told the New York Post, it is not coincidence that Ruth repeated Kamala and Joe's extremist rhetoric against Trump. At this point, it is inexcusable incitement. Now look, political rhetoric, we can all get carried away with it. I'm just pointing this out, and I think the New York Post is rightly justified to point it out, because they're the ones, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are the ones who repeatedly have said that Donald Trump causes people to do things they shouldn't do. They blame Donald Trump's speech on January the 6th for starting that protest. The New York Post says that following the Trump assassination attempt back in July, that Ruth tweeted at Biden that he should visit the victims. Here's what he wrote. You should visit the victims in the hospital of the Trump rally victims and attend the funeral of the firemen that died. Trump certainly never would. Show the world what real leaders do. Again, he posted this on July 16th. He also tweeted at Trump in June 2020 that while he supported the Republican in 2016, he was left disappointed by his tenure in the Oval Office, writing, "I and the world hoped that President Trump would be different and better than the candidate, but we are all greatly disappointed, and it seems you're getting worse and devolving. Are you retarded? I would be glad when you're gone," he wrote. Well, it appears that he was trying to make that happen, make sure that Donald Trump is gone. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. On the text line, texter says, Trump has been shot again. Joey, I do pray God is protecting him to become 47. If Biden and Harris can help war along, would that stop an election? Please, please say no, because they will get us blown off the face of the earth. They plus Waltz are like the Three Stooges. I pray that that God protected him again for a reason yesterday as well. Appreciate your text. Ace writes, good morning, Joey. Hope you're doing well. I read yesterday that there's a new virus that's popped up. Coincidence? ? Also, I've noticed that gas prices have gone down considerably. Coincidence? I'd like to know where you buy your gas, Ace, because I'm not seeing that exactly. He says, I believe that all of this is an attempt to confuse would-be voters. There's so much going on that it's difficult to keep up with. What do you think? Well, you're right, Ace. It can be overwhelming at times. There is a lot going on, and particularly with the latest assassination attempt yesterday of President Trump. But we have to keep our heads down, keep praying, and know that we're going to get through this. Jeff writes, I'm so sick of hearing about Taylor Swift and her endorsement. Who cares? Most of her friends are too young to vote anyway. You know, before the assassination attempt of President Trump this weekend, he tweeted, and I don't have the exact tweet in front of me. I guess he posted on X. Are you supposed to say tweet anymore? He posted on X something like, I hate Taylor Swift. And, I was thinking about that. And don't you think he could have done a little better than saying, I hate Taylor Swift, by just saying something like, hey, she has her opinion, and young people, I promise I will make your rent more affordable. I will make just your life more affordable. I'll get gas prices back to where they once were. And just kind of sell them on what he can do for the young voters. I'm afraid that who was it here? Ace, I guess, was right. The young voters aren't going to vote anyway. Not a large percentage of them. So Taylor Swift's endorsement is not going to mean anything other than some of the ones who probably were going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. Texture. And I'm still getting a lot of notes, emails, and texts about last week's debate. You can continue to send them, but I'm going to tell you in just a minute why I think we need to just forget about the debate and move forward. Katrina writes, hey, Joey, it's been a minute. And you're right, Katrina, I haven't heard from you in a while. There's so much going on by the time I sit down to write you a note, it's old news. My head is spinning. That seems to be a common theme, isn't it? Everybody's head is spinning. But it is overwhelming. Katrina says, I don't think there is any need for another presidential debate. I miss the old days when there were real debates. Everyone would answer the same question, and the moderators were journalists, not performers. What a circus now. I do think people see that, and that Harris is a communist. She and Waltz aren't even smart or interesting communists. Anyway, groupthink gang people will vote as they are told. The rest of us need to talk to everyone we meet about policies, not personalities, and ask them if they're financially better or worse than in 2020. Easy choice for us regular folks. We need to show up to vote and bring like-minded people with us. I like early voting because we work the polls on Election Day. The lines can be long and go so early. And bring mobile too. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Oh, we can do curbside voting right from the vehicle. I got you. The voting system in South Carolina is very secure. It is other states that I worry about. Love your show and your positive thoughts, Katrina. Thank you, Katrina. I appreciate that. And I agree. I think that we have. I think our voting system is pretty secure in South Carolina as well. Scott in Toccoa text. Joey, I watched the debate, and despite what the polls are saying, Trump got his hat handed to him. Also, the fact that he's refusing another debate looks bad and gives Harris way too much ammo to use against him. I know the debate was rigged against him, and any future ones will also be rigged against him, but that doesn't matter. He still needs to redeem himself. I offer a couple of solutions. So, President Trump, if you're listening, here's what Scott from Toccoa thinks you should do. Number 1, make the questions known in advance to both candidates. Number 2, prohibit the moderators from fact-checking. That way, at least everyone is playing on the same board. Well, Scott, you're right. It's not going to be fair if there is another one. I don't think any of the networks are going to agree to give the questions in advance, except to the Democrat. And I don't think they're going to agree to not fact-check, except for the Republican. But I do appreciate your text. Always good to hear from you, Scott from Toccoa. All right, so a lot of you are still texting, emailing about the debate. And it's kind of hard to get past it, isn't it? I want you to think about this for a moment. There's a great article written by Dennis Powell. He's a strategic management consultant who writes for The Hill sometimes. And he wrote an article over the weekend in The Hill. He started out by saying, on style, Kamala Harris won her first debate with Donald Trump. She exceeded the low expectations that had been set for her, and she prepared sufficiently to not have a meltdown like Joe Biden did in June. He said, but she failed to achieve 4 strategic goals to advance her candidacy with independent and undecided voters. And he's right, isn't he? She did look better. She sounded better. She had her answers in short, concise answers. She didn't give us a word salad like she normally does. But there was no substance there. And people are starting to say that. Polls are starting to show that. Strategically, the vice president needed to use the debate to establish clear differences between herself and Donald Trump, particularly on 2 issues, the economy and immigration, because those are the 2 issues that poll after poll say the American people are concerned about. Currently, on the economy, Trump is preferred over Harris by 10 points. This is according to the Pew Research. On immigration, he is preferred by a 7-point margin. Kamala Harris failed to address either one of these in such a way that it changed anyone's mind, that it convinced someone who may have been leaning towards Donald Trump or someone who's just not quite sure about her to come around. She did not move voters, I believe. First, she needed to declare some independence and try to distance herself from the failures of her own administration, of the Biden-Harris administration. Biden was elected to heal a divided nation and return the economy to pre-pandemic levels. On day 1, what did he do? He decided to transform the economy around green energy and restructure our society to achieve social justice through equity, all these equity programs, DEI programs. She's a part of that. She's a major part of that. And the problem for Kamala Harris is that she's been fully committed to these programs, to these goals, based on numerous previous statements and her actions. Therefore, it's hard for her to distance herself from the programs that were created and the spending that has been done by the Biden-Harris administration, which has caused the inflation that we're having today. She can't run from that. Gallup polling in January 2020, the height of the Trump economy pre-pandemic, found 41% of Americans were either somewhat or very satisfied with the country's direction and the way we were headed. Fast forward to 2024, that number has dipped to 20%. Harris now has to acknowledge the issue, take some level of responsibility, and commit to doing better, and she has to present a very comprehensive strategy. Tell us what you're going to do about it, and make us believe that you're really going to do it. She failed at all of that. She didn't accomplish any of that during the debate. Yes, she did. She looked better. She answered the questions better. She had all this fluff. But if you look at some of the polls since last week's debate, people didn't buy it. People didn't buy that laughter, that cackling of hers. People want to know specifically what she's going to do. She also needed to address the fact that she has changed her position on just about every important policy issue. The right to change your view is okay. I mean, we can change our minds. But if you're seeking the presidency, you got to explain to the American people why and how this evolution occurred. Why you're a different person now than you were when you were talking about the Green New Deal, when you were talking about or failing to secure our border. You got to come up with a strategy to let us know what you're going to do rather than just avoid the press. She's never created a narrative, and she did not during the debate, around her evolution and how she changed the way she has, or the way she wants us to think she is. In the end, she failed to make the case that she is a, quote, moderate, a more moderate Kamala Harris. She needed to come out of the debate as the established candidate of change, which would have required her to distance herself from Joe Biden and establish her credentials as a moderate. She failed miserably to do that as well. So, folks, let's put the debate behind us. Let's move forward. Let's win in November, and we can do it. We can do it. Like one of the texters, Christy, I think it was, we got to make sure we turn the vote out. We got to get our friends and family and church family to the polls November the 5th. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. She has done it again. Will the real Kamala Harris please stand up? And I know you're probably getting tired of me talking about Kamala Harris, but hey, you need to know this. You need to be prepared to tell your friends and coworkers and your church friends and your family why they can't support Kamala Harris and what a fraud she is. So this is why I constantly, when I learn about these things and I see these things, I pass them on. Kamala Harris raised eyebrows again over the weekend with another mysterious accent. This time she was at the Congressional Black Caucus dinner, where she appears to shift her accent again during her speech to a group made up of primarily black people in the room.
I have to say, it is so good to be back. And let me just say about Joe Biden, I have. Hello to all my Divine Nine brothers and sisters, and my sorors. And to all my HBCU brothers and sisters.
This is one sick woman. I mean, did you notice the difference? I don't know that I've ever heard that accent. That's a new one. You know, at some point, maybe I'll do a little montage and put some side by side so you can hear them. She seemed to briefly alter the tone of her voice at the start of her remarks. This was a glitzy Washington, D.C. gala of the Black Caucus, where Joe Biden was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And you heard her. Hello, all my divine brothers and sisters. I guess she was referencing her sorority at the historical black colleges and universities. She was a sister at the Alpha Kappa Alpha at Howard University, and she's an alum there. So I guess she was doing a shout out to her sisters, her sorority sisters. But then she reverted back to her traditional manner of speaking for a part of the rest of the speech. It's called the Phoenix Awards Dinner, with a few exceptions during the moments that she grew very animated and had that cackling and that goofy look on her face. And the audience seemed to be buying it. The audience seemed to be excited that the vice president was speaking to them. They don't see any problem with Kamala standing up there acting like she's a black woman, trying to sound like a more black woman. I guess, I don't know, what is she trying to sound like? Critics, of course, you can imagine their response, quickly pouncing on Harris over her switch of the accent again, because this has been, for months now, she's come under a lot of criticism of pandering by shifting her accent when speaking to different constituencies, especially at events with a mostly black audience, which was the case this weekend at the Black Caucus. Trending Politics co-owner Colin Rugg wrote on X, Kamala Harris brings out her new accent at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's 2024 Phoenix Awards dinner in Washington, D.C. Kamala has brought out this new accent throughout her campaign at different times. Kamala, speaking in her fake accent, says, "Hello to all my Divine Nine brothers and sisters," followed by a loud cackle, the Trump campaign war room wrote. Benny Johnson posted on X. He's a conservative pundit, said, Kamala Harris is speaking in front of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, so of course she suddenly developed a mysterious accent. I mean, people recognize this for what it is, except maybe for the people she's talking to. I mean, do you think it occurred at all to the black audience whom she was speaking to what she was trying to do? Do they not find it weird? Conservative influencer Steve Guest wrote on X, last night Kamala Harris revealed a new accent at the Black Caucus dinner. Despite a childhood in Berkeley, California and Montreal, Canada, Kamala uses what she thinks is a Detroit accent, a Southern accent, a French accent, and more. Boy, she can change it up on a dime, can't she? A user named George wrote on X, Kamala Harris is whatever you want her to be. depending on which audience she is talking to. She never makes a lot of sense, but I give her credit for being able to change her accent for so many audiences. Earlier this month, Harris was accused of a fake accent. I shared that with you while she was speaking to members of a teachers union in Michigan. In July, Harris appeared to speak with a southern drawl during a rally in Atlanta. She did the same thing in 2021 when she tried to mimic a French accent. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was irritated when when Peter Doocy asked a question about this. She said, "I'm not even going to entertain some question about it. It's just hearing it sounds so ridiculous." Well, no, it's not ridiculous because she's doing it. The vice president is pretending to have an accent for the audience that she's speaking to. Wow. Speaking of the election and voting, many of you text me and email me about the safety of our elections and whether or not illegals will be able to vote. Again, I say in South Carolina, I think we have very secure elections. Not necessarily the case in other states, but we have to be ready, and I think Laura Trump and her organization that she's building with the Republican National Committee, she's going to be ready on November the 5th with an army of lawyers. And they're going to have to fight things like the Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles admitting over the weekend that they wrongfully registered at least 306 non-citizens to vote. Yeah, the DMV says the wrongful registrations occurred since 2021 and were the result of a program that automatically registered anyone who obtained a driver's license or state ID. State officials say they expect to find more wrongful registrations ahead of Election Day. Well, what are they doing about it, though? Oregon has allowed non-citizens to get a driver's license since 2019. Of the 306 people identified, just 2 have cast ballots in an election since 2021. So that proves when the Democrats say, "Oh, they won't be able to vote." Well, 2 have in Oregon, and yes, only 2. But how many are there out there that we don't know about? Oregon Secretary of State LaVon Griffith-Valade says that 306 people will, quote, be notified by mail that they will not receive a ballot unless they demonstrate that they are eligible to vote. Oregon says it's wrongfully registered hundreds of non-citizens. Not quite sure how many. Griffin-Valade defended the state's automatic voter registration program despite the lapse. Governor Tina Kotek also argued that the discovery will not impact the 2024 election. They won't if you go back and do the right thing and you do a full search. You got to make sure that there's not more out there. Wow. Who would have ever thought that illegals would have even been given a driver's license to begin with? That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.